Hey friends, we've got another props from the past for you. Going to be going over an old video going way back to a video I did, I believe in 2013, for my friends over at Film Riot. They do tutorial videos on filmmaking. I've learned a ton from them. I've had the opportunity to work on a couple of projects with them, which has been fabulous. And I believe this was one of the first. They were making a movie, a short film called Proximity, and they needed these little ankle cuffs. And that's what I built. Let's dive into it.
Listen to my deep, sexy, I'm sick voice. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was the other wrinkle. I got a call from Ryan. They were planning on shooting a film called Outsiders. I have the post for it somewhere. It never got made. One of their financiers dropped out. So they pivoted with the team they had put together to film this thing and decided to shoot this other short film called Proximity. And I got the call, hey Bill, can you make these things? And I was like, sure. I was super sick at the time. Probably should have said no, but I did it anyway. Sweet old intro.
Hey, it's Chinbeard here, and if it sounds like...
So the last one of these we did, I was wearing the pink hoodie, the reddish, orangish. It's not one color anymore. In this video, I'm wearing the brown hoodie, which at the time was the dirty shop hoodie. I also have a brown hat on. A little different now.
Like I'm coming off of a plague, it's because I am. I got a super quick, super secret commission from Ryan Connolly over at Film Riot. They had to rearrange some of their shooting schedules.
It's just weird to me, real quick, to look at the basement shop. And it's not just that it's the basement shop, and I haven't worked out of there in like a year and a half, but this is like 2013 basement shop. By the time we moved out of there, it looked almost completely different than what it looks like right there. Like it almost looks bare to me. You guys have to understand, I worked out of that basement for 5 straight years, every day. Very familiar with it.
And wanted to do a new sort of short project while they had a bunch of people assembled. So Ryan was like, hey Bill, can you build some things in like a couple days? And I was like, sure, why not? These are like
good
futuristic ankle cuff things, right? So, you know, they look all locked.
I'm so out of it. Oh my God. I must have been on some pretty fantastic cold medicine.
They magnet together and they go on your ankle.
Yeah.
Or on your wrist, because you can't see my ankles. Anyway, so I'll tell you how I made them. The first thing I did was I drew up a sketch.
Well, that was the other thing. It had to be an ankle cuff, and it had to come off and be able to put back on. But that was all I got from them. I kind of had, the lights might have been the only other part of the design brief, but I had like room to play. So I drew this, sent a picture to Ryan, and he was like, sure.
Of the ankle.
Like, this whole thing happened like inside of 2 days.
Got the sketch approved by Ryan. And then I laid it out flat on a design sort of schematic so that I knew...
I must still have that. One quick second. I don't think I still have that. Or it's at my house.
How big all the pieces need to be. Those schematics got cut out, and then I used those as templates to cut out all of the foam pieces that I would need. These guys are...
It's amazing how little building, how little of the build I filmed. It's mostly just me talking about it.
Made out of EVA foam floor mats. I took and cut out the main shapes of either side. I first measured them to make sure I knew that they would be big enough to fit around a human ankle. And then I cut out the pieces. Just using a normal...
Well, that's the diamond plate looking EVA foam. I hate that stuff.
Knife like this,
but it was probably all I had.
This guy right here to cut out the pieces. And for some of the angle cuts, I used my scroll saw, and then I cleaned up all of the angles and edges on my belt sander, which is hiding back there. The side...
Just talking about it, didn't film any of that. I don't blame past me for not filming any of that, because I was really sick and in a short amount of time, but we don't really do that anymore. If we're filming a project, we film every bit of it.
Pieces here, these guys are just thinner EVA foam. That's the craft foam you can get from a hardware store. And then these lower pieces...
Yep, definitely.
Down here are the even thinner craft foam at 2 millimeters. This stuff is 6 millimeters. The sort of inlay parts here with the design is a little trick I learned from my friend Will Morgan over at WM Armory on Facebook.
Right. That's one of the first times I used that
We'll
trick.
put together a really good video on foam fabrication, and you can check that out here. And wait.
That was also back when YouTube had annotations, and you could put a link right on that. That doesn't work anymore.
What he did was he scored the foam with a knife, like I did, and then hit it with a heat gun so that the pieces would separate a little bit, and you get these really cool looking lines.
Yeah, that was like really the first time I learned how to use that trick, and it's awesome. How cool is that? It's probably the first time I used it.
All of the bigger foam pieces were put together using my favorite adhesive, contact cement. You brush a little on either side, let it dry a little bit, and when it's ready, you just stick the two pieces together, mash them down, and they are like that for good.
Yeah, I mean, we had been making stuff out of foam since then, but this was before I wrote the Foamsmith books. Like this was some of the first times I was discussing these foam techniques in a video. I think that's kind of neat. Also, I'm using weldwood and DAP weldwood instead of barge. It's fine. It works fine. It's just barges.
The rest of
Definitely
the build
better.
went that way for all three of the cuffs. Some of the smaller pieces and the thinner stuff just got super glued down, and then these screws.
Yeah, it was one of the things about foam that I love so much is that I could design these things perfectly flat since they were just going to be a cylinder, including all the detail I could put on there and then just bend it. Just bend it. Definitely a perfect example for when you need a prop for a short film like Tomorrow, why you would go with something like foam as opposed to like 3D printing or some other more like rigid fabrication, because being able to just fold these things into a tube made it really
Bits
fast.
here were just some computer case screws that I glued in place. Nothing.
Also, I'd like to point out, not only am I totally sick during this, usually, I didn't do it so much back then, but usually I would write an outline that I would read when I was doing this voiceover part. It's clear that I did not do that for this one. I'm just going off the cuff, so to speak.
Too complicated there. And then finally I gave
There's an ad for a car in the background. Look at that. Is that a BMW? All right.
a little bit of paint. I wanted these side bits to look all nice and homogeneous, so they got a layer of black on the side. I went over the edges with some silver paint to make it look all nice and sort of weathered a little bit. And then finally, these pieces right here, these sort of light looking things.
This part I'm pretty proud
I
of.
painted the back of them with a little bit of silver rub and buff so that they stood out a little bit from the normal gray. And then I filled them in with a 5-minute epoxy and different pigments. I've got all of these different pigments here. So we've got our green, yellow, and red sort of pigments, and they pool a little bit, and they kind of look like little light lens things.
Yeah, that was the part I was probably the most proud of, that trick. Now, in the short film, you'll see them with those light things on them, and then they'll occasionally cut to a close-up that's actually CG, just to show the lights blinking. And when this film came out, people asked me, how did you make the lights blink? I didn't. They did that all in post. They would just make that chunk of the screen glow, and since I already had the right color in that sort of reflective, shiny square that I made out of epoxy, like it really sold it. It sold it really well, and there was no electronics in the cuff. It fooled a lot of people. I was pretty proud of that.
So that's that. That's how these things went together. I crammed these out in a couple of days, and they are getting shipped out in about 2 minutes. Thank you for watching my little how-to.
That's right. I had to ship these, so I had to film this part right away while I was still sick. I could have filmed this part without the cuff in it like a week later, but who's got time for that?
And how we made these ankle cuffs. I will be doing tons and tons more how-to type things. Make sure you go and subscribe down below. And if you have questions about my build, let me know on Twitter @chinbeard or on Facebook at facebook.com/punishedprops.
Right on. Hey!
Woo! Woo!
Who's this guy? It's just that for like 20 minutes. No, all right, we're done. I forgot about that. Yeah, so yeah, I was definitely really sick and delirious during shooting and making all of that. What really struck me was how little build footage I recorded. There were only like maybe a dozen shots of me building stuff. What a trip. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that look down memory lane. If you have anything you want to comment on about that, or you have any questions about the video, please let me know in the comments below. I love chatting about these silly old videos that we made. That one was fantastic. I would love to do something again with or for Film Riot at some point. I'm still buddies with them. I still chat with them. We just haven't made anything in a while, so maybe we will. We'll see. I would love that. Oh, and also, by the way, the film Proximity you can go watch at any time. Look up Proximity Film Riot on YouTube. You'll find it, and it's a pretty fantastic short film, about 10 minutes long. Totally worth it. Definitely go check that out, and let the guys at Film Riot know I sent you. Okay, gang, that's going to wrap it up for this week's Props from the Past. Thanks for watching. Thanks, as always, for the support. Keep it up. You guys are fantastic, and we'll see you next week with some more shenanigans from the shop.